our paint cart. The idea is everything lives on the cart. You got to spray paint, you go. We have a waste bucket. We have extra parts for the sprayer, throat seal, lubricant, extra spray tip holders, the different tips we own, and extra filters for the gun. These screw onto the gun. So you can then spray high areas. Okay. Few things to know about a paint sprayer. They're not hard to use. There's just a lot of little pieces. First of all, spray tips. A quarter turn and come right out. Power switch right here. Today I'm using a heavy-duty extension cord. Normally you want to plug it into the wall. I want to be able to walk around for this demonstration. Now, my paint. Your pickup tube in the paint source. This is for priming. I'm going to turn on the paint sprayer. I'm going to turn on to low pressure for priming. I'm going to turn on the paint sprayer. Start to run. I'm going to open the priming valve. The water from the last fuse is going to come out of there eventually. You should get just a few seconds. There it is. I just ran that till I started to see paint. Now to prime my paint sprayer, it takes about a quart of paint to prime one of these. I'm taking the nozzle out. I'm pumping the water that was used last time out of the machine. I'm pointing it at the wall of the bucket so I can see when the water changes over to paint. There it is. Now if you look at the paint can, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that just used a ton of paint. Not really. Now, explain during cleanup. Now, these tips will vary based on what you're doing. Our work instructions should include what tip you need. I'm using a fine finish tip for right now, which is normally used for painting doors or cabinetry. And the reason I selected it for this demonstration is it doesn't have a lot of overspray. Pretty simple. Or is it? So a couple of things to know. You always want to spray on scrap, cardboard, something. Check your fan first. That's actually pretty good. I'm going to turn the pressure way down. This stuff always works better when you're demonstrating than when you're actually working the square. You want to look for fat fingers. If you have fat fingers on the edges of your fan, turn the spray nozzle up. Now another thing that will occur is you will clog the nozzle at some point. When that happens, and it will happen, you turn this backwards and you give it a squirt. It'll blow the clog out of the nozzle, and then you're back in business. Okay. So that is painting. Okay, so I'm done painting. I've got a paint sprayer full of paint. What do I do with the leftover? Well, you chase it with water. Put about a half a gallon of water in a bucket. Stick your paint pick up in the water. Now it's always good to have a waste bucket around. First thing you want to do is get the water through the paint sprayer. I never like to dump the primer material back into a paint bucket because it's mixed with other stuff, as you can see. That's looking pretty runny. Good enough. Now, this is a good tip for if you're running close to out of paint. You can do that and keep spraying. Won't hurt a darn thing. Do it all the time. You'll see that I have water in the bucket. I'm still getting paint out the sprayer. For cleaning purposes, we just need to get the paint out of the hose. We want to get our quart back. Again, spraying at the wall of the paint can. I'm waiting for it to get a little runny. And it has done that. Now, I'm not worried about diluting the paint real bad. Remember, water-based paint is thinned with water. Oil-based paint is thinned with mineral spirits. I'm going to spray at the side of the bucket here. Okay, now you've noticed I shut the sprayer off. I'm going to pull the trigger, relieving all pressure out of the paint sprayer. Oh yeah, it helps to clean out the tip. Shutting off the sprayer, relieving the pressure. It's important to do that because you'll have a coworker pick up the paint sprayer one day. That coworker might be me, and pull the trigger and soak themselves in paint. And it's always a new jacket or a new shirt or a new sweatshirt, a new pair of pants. It never happens to the bleached out stuff. Next, now if you're painting for days, that's good enough. That'll get you through till morning. You never walk away from a paint sprayer until doing at least those things. Now when you're cleaning this up, or if you're having trouble with it, you want to clean the screens. There are 3 screens. This one's number 1, otherwise known as a rock guard, because it's not very fine, and quite frankly, it's not going to stop anything smaller than a rock. You never want to run your paint sprayer without it, because if there's something clumpy up in the paint supply, and it happens, it'll destroy the spray gun. Well, not just the gun, but the pump. You want to make sure that this, when you put it away, you can see the screens. If you ever pick this up and it's kind of full, like all this stuff has grown over the screen, dip it in paintbrush cleaner. That's screen number 1. Now on the spray gun, there is this gnarly cup that can hold the spray gun or the paint pickup tube and the primer. Kind of a spot where stuff can drip out. Screen number 2 is right here. And this is why you let the pressure out. If you can't get this loose by hand, there's probably pressure on it. There's some goo in there. And there's some goo from different colors. So that's pretty chunky. That's after running water through it. So I'm gonna go clean that. Around the bucket of water is doing pretty good. So that's clean enough. Again, this can be soaked in paint and brush cleaner. Whenever you take one of these apart, you definitely don't want to do it on grandma's brand new carpet. I'm going to get a rag. So that's screen number 2 of 3. Put this nozzle back in the paint gun before I lose it. These tips are anywhere from 20 to $100 a piece, so we don't want to lose them. There's a third screen right here in the gun. This one can be elusive. True story, my first paint sprayer, I went years before I found this, and oh, was it clogged. I had to use a drill bit to remove it. And that's all set. Now that does seat with the top of the spray gun. I like to put it together like that, make sure it gets in the top there. If it gets off to the side, it gets crushed. All right. Now that's all clear. Okay. Now, when you're done with the paint sprayer, you need to put a couple drops of throat seal lubricant right here on the shaft. Done. That used to go in there. You may think I'm nuts for wiping this up. True story, this thing used to be new. For some reason, several folks have used this unit in the same room that they were spraying in, which is not recommended. It has a 50-foot long hose, so it's not hard to keep it in a different room, or at least 20 feet away from where you're spraying, and it keeps it a lot cleaner. Ready for the next job.